I am an efficient.
Thank you. I know. You wait till the last minute.
Let the
and then
record
go.
show. He finished.
A bit of a surprise, a bit of an upset. Everyone didn't have my digestive tract working correctly. Michelle Beadle is with us. Happy to have her, as we always are. She is doing a show with Cody Decker. If you had asked me, Michelle, I imagine, had all the options in the world on any show she could do with anybody. Cody Decker was not on my former major leaguer. Cody Decker was not on my list of bingo card Michelle Beadle co-hosts.
You had a top five?
He wasn't on it. I had 1,000 on my list, and Cody Decker was not on it.
1,000. Wow.
But every weekday, noon to 3 p.m. on Sirius's Mad Dog Sports Radio channel, I did not know that you were a baseball fan. For some reason, I associate you most with basketball and wrestling. How did you get into this endeavor? Why did you get into this endeavor?
I think I missed the idea of radio, which obviously you guys can attest to more than anyone. There's so much more freedom and time. And the idea to do a show on Mad Dog where all the sports are up for grabs, that I also missed. I mean, I'd been doing NBA only for so long, which I love. But believe it or not, I consume a lot of other things. So I was just sort of like, let's talk. And I didn't realize how quickly 3 hours can fly by. And Cody Decker is the energy to my dry sarcasm. So it's a good fit.
How is Mad Dog as a boss?
Oh my God. He's hilarious. Like, so we've been in studio. When I'm in New York, we'll always be in studio and then we'll be remote otherwise. And Mad Dog is just, first of all, works harder than I ever intend to work in the next 20, 25 years. And he walks in and he's just a character. And it's funny because I didn't grow up in this area, so I didn't ever truly grasp Mike and the Mad Dog and how big a deal that was. But he's a legend. And when we leave the show, we'll have callers. As soon as our show ends, that call screen lights up. He hasn't even sat in a seat yet. I'm like, what are these people doing all day? It's insane. It's insane.
What is the most fun you have had working? Because I would make the argument on behalf of what you're presently doing. The space and the ability to have that much room to roam is the reason that I got out of all the other things and want to do this. Have you had more fun than the space that this allows you to work in sports?
Yeah, it is just, I mean, like I said, the 3 hours is big. I've gotten away with some off-color jokes that probably I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Now, look, that may have just been because no one's listening. I don't know. But either way, I got to say it and I'm not in trouble. That sounds like a child. And it's, I can talk about that stupid show Naked Attraction, and then we can go back to the baseball, and we can go back to football, and we can do this and that. And so I like it. I'm definitely a little bit different of a human than they had before. When I go talk to our bosses, it's funny because I'm not like that. First of all, I'm a woman, with the exception of Linda Cohn. There hasn't been a ton of that. And so, and I also just have a different sense of humor, I think. So it's been quite fun to kind of go in there and disrupt a little bit.
What about the baseball postseason have you found most interesting? They're making fun of me around here because baseball has happened to the best teams I've seen this season. All the 100-win teams are in trouble or have been beaten.
We're making fun of how upset you are about the Orioles being eliminated in 3 games. No one cares. Not even Baltimore cares this much.
Not just the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Braves being in trouble, the Rays getting eliminated that fast. What have you found most interesting?
I find it interesting that you could almost make the argument that having rest is not a good thing. That the extra days off for the better teams seems to not have suited them quite well. I mean, I could make the argument for myself. If I come back from a week off, it's going to take a few days. Well, they don't have a few days. Getting swept wasn't on their bingo card. So it's a bummer to see. Baltimore had such a interesting story all season off the field. They had stupid things like suspending a kid for reading a graphic that 19 other people had to look at. So it's one of those stories where you're like, wow, the Dodgers for me will be fascinating to see what happens with that. I'm glad the Braves won. I don't like sweeps. It doesn't matter if I have a horse in the race or not. I want to be entertained. And a sweep or even like an 11-1 score, that's not entertaining. Nobody likes that.
Do you have a rooting interest, a storyline above all others that you care about more?
No, not really. I mean, I've supported the Dodgers and I've supported the Astros at certain points in my life, but I just want good entertainment. That's really honestly all I care about. It's kind of nice to not have a team because you can just sort of sit back and watch the games and hope to be smiling at the end of it. Like the end of that Braves game the other night, that was why we love sports. Like I didn't care who won. I just wanted something great to happen. And it's exactly what we got.
I heard some sound that I don't think we can play because in-game sound is stuff that can only be played if you have the rights. But just the sound of the crowd in Atlanta following the last play, where you hear the fear and then you hear the enthusiasm escalate, and all you're hearing is crowd noise, and it's to save their season, right? It's to save their great season. Just hearing the ambient sound of Atlanta was the coolest thing I've seen so far in the postseason.
I agree, because that crowd, obviously, that's a killer crowd, and Braves fans are legit, and they knew. I mean, you go down 2 games and go back to Philly, which is like an earthquake level sound vortex. Good luck with that. And so I think they knew you got to grab this one, and grabbing it in such dramatic fashion, it coming down to the final seconds like it did. I say seconds like it's a basketball game, whatever. You know what I mean? It was great to hear. It was the exact opposite of what you saw in Los Angeles, because Los Angeles crowd, they were there in attendance, but you get down 3-0 right off the bat. They're dead in the water before they can even try to cheer the team back on. So yeah, that was a hell of a comeback. Philly's going to be ridiculously loud. I don't even know that you could pay me to go to the game. I think it's just going to be so chaotic and loud. No interest. I'm too old at this point.
And nasty. Don't you think Bryce Harper needs to get over himself just a little bit? I mean,
well, the head, I don't get this.
Thank you.
It's like a head wound.
Yes.
Like, what is that? Like, is he a war veteran from World War II? I don't get it.
Just rounding second, taking off the helmet so you can see his flowing hair. You can see the bandana. He's the J.J. Watt of Major League Baseball.
Oh, God, I missed you, Stugotz. The J.J. Watt slander is my favorite.
Well, thank you.
You are a famous Spurs fan. You have not had a lot to celebrate recently, but you
does now.
Yes, you have a player now that obviously seems like a total game changer. How much time do you worry the way that you used to worry any time, Michelle, you would see a player of these dimensions, or comparable, not these dimensions have never been here, but where you would worry about fear that his body is going to break down, that it's not, at no point have I ever seen a player who looks like this have this kind of hope and expectation that he won't get hurt, because the expectation my lifetime has always been that a player that is shaped like this is going to get physically hurt, cannot live up to the potential of this.
No, I think it's you just hope for, I mean, everyone gets hurt. His dimensions, as you say, they are not conducive to long stretches without any injury. I'm hoping for, he's the unicorn. I'm hoping for we have some unicorn luck on that one. But they say he's put on 20 pounds. When I put on 20 pounds, I'm going to hear about it on Twitter. I don't see the 20 pounds on him, but that's because he's dealing with 9 feet of flesh. And we're hoping that it works. He looked strong the other night. There were some moves that were so graceful that you forget he's 27 feet tall. To see he and Chet Holmgren go up against each other, it was almost sort of a surreal visual. And then to see him headbutt Chet and him go, the whole thing was just like, I don't know if this is the future of the NBA, if this is just a temporary moment. It's kind of fun to watch, though. I'm excited about it. And from all accounts, like, I know we're expecting a big load management coming from the Spurs and all that. But from everything I've heard and everyone I've talked to and I've listened to, the plan is for him to play as much as possible. I mean, he's 19. He wants to play. Now, we know that doesn't always matter when it comes to players and their teams and whatever the strategy is. But I hope that that's the case. Now that I'm not in San Antonio as much as I was, for me to get to watch the games, I've become like a super fan. Like, I hope he never sits on the bench. I want to see him play every game. But it's fun to see the excitement. All of that being said, this isn't going to be like, oh, the Spurs go to the finals. It's just going to be a few more wins than last year, but it's definitely the beginning of something.
Michelle, I don't want to put you in a difficult spot here with this question, but when Pop comes out and he acts like he failed professionally because his dream was to be a D3 coach, he's full of shit, right?
He's always full of shit, but in the best possible way.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Is Popovich full of shit in the best possible way? Yes or no? James Harden, what do you imagine is going to end up happening there?
For a while I thought nothing. I've gotten used to the sort of the tantrums, I think they pay off eventually. Like, it seems like that might happen. If he's playing nice, the players have nothing but positive things to say. He's not disrupting in the sense that we probably thought would be a distraction, but I guess I think he might go to the Clippers at some point. It's crazy. The compartmentalization that has to go on in locker rooms in sports, it'd be hard. I mean, it'd be hard to have a colleague, a teammate do all of this and then just come back in and we have to act like everything's cool. It's one of the parts of sports that fascinates me the most because my brain doesn't operate that way. If it's awkward, it's awkward. And I don't know how you get past that. But he's got to do something. I mean, the market's not what he thought it was going to be. We've seen this a few times now. These guys, they were once great and they still are pretty damn good, but people aren't clamoring like you probably thought they would be. So you find yourself in a bit of a predicament without leverage, which is a bit humbling.
Udoka saying Van Vliet is a better fit.
I mean,
in Houston, where he was the MVP, like that one.
Yep.
If that one doesn't tell you where your market value is, I don't know what's going to tell you more overtly than that.
No, you kind of needed to bake some cookies, come in, make nice. And, I mean, there's no repairing the Daryl Morey situation. You walk around the globe calling me a liar. I don't know what happens there. But unfortunately for Morey, he's more replaceable than Harden is. So we've seen that too.
Speaking of awkward, we only have 45 seconds left, but Draymond Green winning in every way, getting that team from Jordan Poole and sending him away and getting his money. How is all of that not going to be awkward? That he's got now a couple of guys in his locker room that he has history with, and he's been emboldened. You're the guy who matters here. We just paid you in a way that suggests it's okay to punch your other guy in the face. We're going to send him away and keep you.
Yeah, if there wasn't a Steph Curry in the room, I think it would be more chaotic. I think having Steph, if you lose Steph, which I don't even really, everything seems great, right? But it has to be tiresome. I think the Draymond act has to get tiresome after a while. But with Steph Curry there, you've got an anchor, you've got someone that can kind of calm everything down. But if there's no Steph, this whole thing, then they're just like any other team with a bunch of drama and nothing to show for it.
Every weekday, Stugotz, noon to 3 p.m., Sirius XM's Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. I believe Mad Dog is already beating everyone to the rush. He's mad about the Christmas Day games now.
Furious.
Already?
Yes. I heard he's already.
Broncos, Patriots.
Yes.
Said he's going to go to church.
He's already mad about it. We'll see if we can find that sound. Michelle, good seeing you. Good seeing you again.
You too, guys. I appreciate it.
I have enjoyed, Stugotz, the creative places that Pablo Torre is searching through and around in his journey to F around and find out. The thing that he just did recently, Jeremy Taché was one of the people involved. I've often wondered about, but never enough to ask the questions or do the reporting to get to the bottom of. Pablo Torre Finds Out explores recently why it is that when an athlete is pounding on his or her chest at a moment of drama and is mic'd up, all of them shout the same thing, "Let's go." They all shout, whether it's whether it's Tom Brady, anyone else, they all go find the same words. I don't know if they do this in other languages.
We do it after good segments.
In English. We do it in English. Billy sometimes does it in Spanish.
Depending on the day and the station.
Doble Cuba tonight on FIU. And you Yes, let's go is shouted again and again from the visceral place where athletes go and get their joy. Let's listen to an investigation that resulted in Pulitzer Prize winner Don Van Natta celebrating the yammering Jeremy Taché because he was efficient enough to enunciate his joy in 2 syllables. Rare for him. He comes from the witty school of yammering.
DVN. I mean, let's
high
praise.
The Rooster.
That won a prize.
See some of the reporting and hear some of the reporting that Pablo did on Pablo Torre Finds Out.
He has it down to an art form. Literally, if you look at the video, he's someone who he stands away from his players. He says he always looks toward the wall as to not scream in anybody's face. He doesn't want to blow out their eardrums.
Sometimes it has to be a let's go, and then something doesn't go right? And then you have to kind of regroup. Let's go! And then, so now you got a different ending. The breath is huge. Whether or not you have a vitamin C drop in your mouth is critical. the way in which you take that breath before the depth of the let's go in your body movement, because you don't want the diaphragm too compacted, because you want it to be able to breathe back out.
This man is a teacher.
That is North Florida coach Matthew Driscoll, and it sounds like his voice has been shot from a lifetime of shouting "Let's go."
We're not even in the college basketball season yet. How does he already sound like that? It's amazing.
Jeremy, what happened with Don Van Natta? Is this the highest praise of your career, that the Pulitzer Prize winner would celebrate your pathetic "Let's go" to celebrate the Heat playoff run?
Wow. Thanks, Dan. A major undercutting there of one of the most important compliments of my entire life, but thank you.
It didn't seem like you had a lot of confidence in that "Let's go" when it was a cappella and it didn't have any support behind it.
It's a big day in one's career when Don Van Natta tweets at you. I mean, I'm serious.
Well, he complimented his journalism. It wasn't just like funny tweet. He said your journalism was valuable to me.
He said it was extremely important journalism that Pablo and I were doing.
It felt sarcastic.
Don Van Natta being sarcastic on the internet.
Down from
felt condescending.
From Mount Don.
Mount Journalism. He was standing up there on Mount Journalism. Good journalism, kid, with your "Let's go."
I have a question. I was informed, and I don't know, this is dangerous to ask just like this. I was told that you interviewed that guy for 2.5 hours.
No.
It wasn't 2.5 hours.
No, I was told that the raw file was 2.5 hours long.
I spoke to Matthew Driscoll for well over an hour. That's for sure.
2.5 is what I'm told was the length of it by the production team that had to cut it up.
It went by so fast because that man is so full of energy.
I heard yammerer is the way it was described to me.
Not me. Never me.
Lucy,
I'm not
Lucy,
yammery.
you seem stunned by everything here. Why is your mouth hanging open?
That's a really long time to talk about anything.
To anyone.
They're figuring stuff out. I mean,
just about
all
let's
those
go,
words,
2 words.
All those words over 2 words.
I'm going to try and figure something out here, Stugotz. Is there any particular reason that when we mention Don Van Natta, because I'd be curious where it is your historical knowledge on this stuff lands, why did you shout the rooster? Do you have any idea why you yourself, with your own mouth, shouted the rooster?
I didn't do it. Billy did. That's a fine.
Yeah, I did it.
All right, why did you shout the rooster? Don Van Natta is not the rooster. Don Van Natta's friend who plays dominoes with us is the rooster. Why are you shouting the rooster?
Well, it's just a callback to our friend Don Van Natta and the rooster, who participated in many of the domino tournaments with us. When you have a chance to shout out the rooster, you got to take it. You know?
That's word association for Billy. Don Van Natta equals rooster.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at LeBatard Show. When you have a chance to shout out the rooster, do you have to do it? Because I feel like you didn't have to do it, and I am playing defense against...
We could see the rooster here if you guys want to look at it.
And it's not often you have the chance. Billy saw a little crack, and he went for it. I mean, that's it.
Look at that man.
Yeah.
Whittingham, we appreciate you being around here today. Before you get out of here, though, for the day, because you have many important Apple things to be doing at the height of broadcasting, how have your gambling adventures gone since you left here? And you left here, as I recall, lamenting in general what gambling has done to your life. That you now are putting money on results, and it has made things a little bit worse for you in terms of enjoying the sports and entertainment experience. What are your gambling observations that you have experienced in the last many months where you've been partaking, but not partaking publicly in a way that allows us to dissect your hurt?
We've subtly referred to a thing that Chris Cody and Stu and myself are in, where we have to pick NFL games every weekend. And it turns me into a person that I don't like. I don't like the person that I become when I watch the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 1, unable to do anything against the 49ers, which now in retrospect was probably fair enough. The 49ers are incredible. But I was mother effing Kenny Pickett for 4 straight hours.
Oh, yeah.
I hate Kenny Pickett intensely. I deeply dislike that person, and I don't like that I do. And then you have these teams where you're trying to figure them out week to week.
And you can't.
No, you can't. You cannot. The Tennessee Titans, good luck. Good luck having any kind of rhyme or reason to their results. The Los Angeles Chargers, forget about it.
Let's all say someone we hate. I hate Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
Lucy?
I don't hate anybody. Let me think about about it. Let me think about it.
She's a reasonable human being who doesn't turn other human beings, into something
everyone hates somebody
because they cost you
Monday
money.
night, I don't like what I said about Jordan Love, but I said it. I said I truly vile things in my television aimed at Jordan Love. Can you, how many times are the Packers going to throw deep and it never works?
Witty, Danzo was talking about how I gamble. Tell him.
Oh, Chris Cody?
Tell him.
He's on fire.
I'm crushing it. He really is, Dan.
On
at the top, looking
fire
down. It's a long
this season,
though.
No, but you know what, though, Chris?
There's 3 people ahead of you. Easy.
No, but Chris, I was gutted for you on Monday night because that was a big swing. You had the Packers and that Jordan Love.
They tried to give the game to
couldn't
the Packers.
Complete a solitary deep pass. The only pass he can throw is a 4-yard out to a tight end, and it looks amazing. The perfect float on the ball. Clearly the stolen Aaron Rodgers technique. He throws exactly like Aaron Rodgers, and it looks great when it's 4 yards. And then he tries to throw deep once, and it never works.
Now, me and Mike were the first guys in this league, and we brought you guys in. And the first rule of this league is not to talk about the league because the commissioner of said league, he's always listening. And so now he's going to have us pick the Titans every single week. I mean, I'm telling you guys, you have to be careful of what you say. Titans Chargers guaranteed on this week's slate. Guaranteed.
I want to segue when Stugotz says
Lucy hates someone.
You have to be... Does she? You found a person that you hate?
My college roommate, Emily. I hate her. She is the worst.
What happened?
She is not a nice girl. I don't know what her problem is. I even told my therapist about her, and she was like, I don't know what her problem is. Emily, I know you're not listening because you blocked me on everything, but you are not nice.
How long did you live with Emily? That's
too long, Dan. She started hating me out of nowhere, and we had already signed a lease for the next year, 2 years with Emily.
How'd that feel? That felt good. That felt good to get it out, though, right?
I feel alive.
Dan, who do you hate? Dan's next.
I don't do hate.
You can hate Emily, too. There's enough to go around.
You hate me, Dan. It's okay. You can say it.
I don't hate you. Hate's a strong one.
All right, fine. Jeremy will go.
Hate's a strong one.
I hate Emily.
I don't yell.
Emily sucks. Say it, Dan.
Say
at my television.
Say it. Say it.
I don't know Emily.
Emily sucks. Come on.
You don't want to know Emily.
You hate the Rangers. I mean,
I don't hate the Rangers. I might come close to hating the Orioles today.
You love the Orioles.
They really let you down,
I love them.
man.
Yeah, well, the relationship went sour. Look, man, I always marvel at these relationships that when I'm looking at them on the wedding day, they're like, wow, they're so in love, and then they grow to hate each other, and I'm like, how did that happen? It happened to me close to it with the Orioles this entire season.
I don't understand how you go into signing a lease while actively hating somebody.
No, so
find somebody else to live with.
We had already signed the lease, and she didn't hate me when we signed the lease. We got along, and she literally said one day she just started being so mean to me, and I was like, "Hey, Emily, have I done anything wrong?" She said, "Lucy, one day I woke up and I hated the sight of you. It made me want to throw up." Wow. She is a mean girl.
She said that to your face?
Nice. She said it right to my face. She looked me in the eyes and said that. She is not nice, and I had to live with her, and it sucked.
More like M. Meanly.
Oh.
Chris.
Yeah, just go.
He let himself out.
Ravens Titans this weekend.
By the way, Stugotz, where is that game being played?
England.
It's a London game.
Yeah.
It's a London. Ravens, Titans in London. How the hell is anyone supposed to figure out who's covering the spread in that godforsaken game? How? I'm going to flip a coin.
2 straight weeks and about 7 straight years, I again last week forgot about the 9:30 start to my football Sunday.
But it's a great surprise, though. You turn on CBS Sunday morning, Jane Pauley takes you through the morning, what's going on in the world, and then you get like an alert. Oh, the Jags are up 3-0 on the Bills. Oh, great. Let me flip on NFL Network. And it's a delightful surprise.
And then I immediately get mad, though. Then I immediately get mad because it's another one of those fart games that they play over there in London.
Jags Bills was quality.
Electric, Dan.
I mean, okay.
The Jags being okay now is a boon for London football.
Let that be your closing words. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, Stugotz. I've said before here on South Beach Sessions and elsewhere that it has been something of a soothing to hide in work and try to, for moments at a time, avoid a grief and a pain that I have not known before, that is affecting my focus, my performance, and any criticism you want to file at me and the show would be earned because I'm trying to move through something that has been very difficult. And while talking to my friend this morning, he was consoling me with the idea of how unique a person my brother was. It's not just losing somebody who was a little brother, a family member, somebody you have a unique bond to, but also there was no one like him anywhere. And I thought about it this morning when I heard the news that Barry Melrose was retiring from ESPN because he's been diagnosed with Parkinson's, and just the amount of universal love that heads the way of Barry Melrose, because he was a personality unlike anyone else in hockey who was at a microphone. And hockey's had a ton of personalities where he just made you like the energy that was around him. And as I've watched Mark Richt on the ACC network with this particular affliction that is a unique kind of prison, Parkinson's disease, where I don't know if you have seen on Apple has done a very good documentary with Michael J. Fox where they take you inside of the experience of what it is to have Parkinson's and how your life just so slowly shrinks in front of people. For an energy and a spirit like Barry Melrose to have to stop working around the thing that he loves because this is too much of a health concern, it broke my heart for him and the people who care about him and the people who care about hockey in a really unique way. The same way it hurts me to watch Mark Richt try to struggle his way through a broadcast because of what a corrosion this particular illness is that extinguishes very slowly a spirit that is unlike many that you encounter anywhere in sports, where there are already plenty of people with charisma and energy, but you will find very few people who have anything bad to say about Barry Melrose, who's been on television for an awful long time, for people not to have bad things to say about him.
My grandfather passed away from Parkinson's. He had it. It's hard to watch. I thought of his family and thought about how difficult that's going to be to see that happen right in front of their eyes. So it's really tricky. It's really difficult. But you're right, Dan. In an industry where it's nearly impossible to stand out, Barry Melrose did that. He was exceptional at his job. He made me is exceptional at his job, excuse me. But he made me want to tune into the hockey highlights. I don't watch hockey as much as I used to, but him and Steve Levy, the Levy Lounge, the way Barry
Lounge.
Yeah, conducted himself. It was just, he's fantastic. He really is. He's a pioneer.
Segueing awkwardly from the sad stuff into other stuff, I did want to play some audio here of a Stoops, Stugotz, Mark Stoops. There are many Stoopses running around all of college football, the way the Bowdens used to once upon a time.
Stoopsy, old Stoopsy.
There are many old Stoopsies running around college football. This one coaches Kentucky, and a lot of people became instant experts on what's wrong with Georgia. They're only winning by a touchdown every week. I don't think they're as good as they used to be because I see them struggling.
Guilty.
I mean, everybody's guilty of it. Everybody saw that Kentucky 14.5 spread and said, maybe this is the week to doubt Georgia. And then they slaughtered Kentucky. And old Stoopsy, who coaches Kentucky, was given a call, somebody saying, how could you lose to Georgia? And Mark Stoops really kind of cut through the bullshit.
The other side, if you want to do that, it's blame, complain, deny, or make excuses. And we're not going to do that. It is what it is. And, fans have that right. I give it to them. I just encourage them to donate more because that's what those teams are doing. I can promise you in Georgia, they bought some pretty good players. You're allowed to these days, and we could use some help. That's what they look like. You know what I mean? When you have 85 of them. So I encourage anybody that's disgruntled to pony up some more.
Davis.
College sports, man.
His posture, totally relaxed.
Why was he sitting like that?
With the belly that you would put a remote control on if you were a fat person watching games on Saturdays.
He's like looking around for someone to agree with him. He's like, huh?
Yes.
Am I right? Am I right?
Well, he has the guy right next to him just shaking his head in agreement. So.
I believe that during college football sports radio shows, when a team loses, they should just pass around a collection plate. Just let's make it that overt. You want me to be better? You're calling to criticize my coaching? Give more money.
Throw some money in here.
Be better at giving me money so I can buy better players.
He has a point. He literally has a point.
He does.
Not enough of them to beat Georgia.
The part that's amazing about it is, one, him leaning back, clearly not knowing that that's being recorded for video. I mean,
or not knowing and not caring, or knowing and not caring.
Stugotz asked if he was wearing a blanket, but it was just the bottom of his shirt. It would be funny if he had a little nice cozy blanket at the table.
But it's also the fact that really is the only way to win, right? Like all these coaches, there's probably not that much that separates any of them. We've talked about being the program that they're going to be simply because they're going to recruit better than everybody else. But there are probably 10 coaches that consider themselves head and shoulders above everybody else. And then there's everybody else. And the difference is, give me more money, please.
All 10 of those coaches have the last name Stoops.
Old Stoopsy.
And none of them will coach in Iowa. None of them will do it.
He makes $8.6 a year, okay? Maybe you can pay a little for these players, huh?
No.
Jeez.
I actually saw it. When does that happen, though? When do coaches start donating part of their salary back
Never.
into the NIL fund?
Honestly, I mean, he's getting paid as much as he ever will, so maybe he should just ride this out.
Unless
But I'm
he
just
comes
saying,
to Iowa, we'll take you.
Somebody making $7 million a year at a crappy job, take $1 million, invest it into your players. All of a sudden, you get a better job. You're making more money here. It's simple math, folks.
$7
You're
million.
proud of that one.
I don't know.
I don't think $1 million's enough, to be honest.
Why did you just point to your head with two fingers as if you'd made the great point?
I'm like, it's just obvious. It's just like
that you think that there are a lot of
doing the
crappy
alphabet.
jobs
Pony up,
at $7 million a year.
coaches make. Dude, Mark Stoops is making 8.6. He just hit you with a dude.
You did just hit me with a dude.
Fired up about this. A tough team.
The Dude Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
Can you guys please find for me, finally, it keeps getting here later and later, Billy's Useless Sound Montage. Later and later in the week.
It's Wednesday every week.
But later and later on Wednesday, I'm told, hey, Dan, remember that you have the Useless Sound Montage. Just every single week, it's getting a little bit later, and I do believe at some point I'm going to get it the following week, that you're waiting for me to forget.
Is that an option?
No, it is not an option, but neither is getting it here as late as it's been getting here, and it's still getting here that late. Let me hear the Useless Sound Montage.
It's never going to be perfect. This game it's an imperfect game, so it's never going to be perfect.
He was really good. Everybody was pretty good.
I think there was a lot of good things today, and some not so good. Coulda, shoulda, woulda is not good enough. The good thing about it, though, and the perspective of it all, is that as we continue to go throughout the season, it's a journey, and there's a lot of still a lot of good things ahead.
When you come out and you see all that red, I mean that's impressive. Especially when you have the purple. I mean, it's purple here. It's a lot of purple, and so but to put the red in there, I mean that was a great thing.
I do feel like this team is able to compete, and we're going to do that every single week.
I love that he competed. There is no flinch in him.
Play calls were great, guys. Made plays all around me. Defense did great, so it wasn't just me.
As an offense, the goal is to play better and put up points.
We take pride in taking care of the football.
Yeah, I've got to be better. I've got to take care of the ball.
We've done a good job of taking care of the ball, and we've done a good job of getting the ball.
It's football, you're going to make mistakes. You just got to, it's really how you come back and how you continue to play.
You have to stay together in football. It's the ultimate team game.
That's football.
We knew it was going to be a dogfight. It was going to be a 4-quarter game. It wasn't going to be easy, and we just had to find a way to win. That's what it's about.
Listen, these games are emotional, man.
They're hard fought. Both teams are, straining. The players are straining. Guys are putting their bodies on the line, and coaches, and the whole thing. And obviously we're not out there playing, but we're part of it.
There's a lot of young guys out there, and we're going to keep everybody moving and going in the right direction. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to be dangerous because you're not going to know who's going to get those opportunities throughout the game.
You got to start the game faster.
I just look at players and that look in his eye.
Sometimes the messy games are my favorite.
It is what it is. Got to just go back to the drawing board and keep working.
We take it 1 week at a time.
No one really cares about how you do it. They just want to see if you win or you lose, or if it works or if it doesn't. And so, however we find a way to do that, whatever it is, the winning is the main thing.
My job is to go attack this thing from this very moment forward.
There's nothing better than when you tell your team just concerns and you talk about it, and your team tells you, Coach, just freaking relax. All right, we got it.
Dan Campbell does often talk in victory as if he's got a bit of indigestion and is holding a burp, like trying to hold a burp down from all that caffeine that he has in the morning. His voice is distinctive. It comes from the bowels, the plumbing of masculinity.
Comes from the Motor City, Dan.
Thank you, Billy. That is true. I can't wait to hear that kind of analysis in Spanish tonight on Dole Cubea. Can't wait.
La Grande.
He's going to crush it,
I can't wait. I cannot wait to
I'm going to have so much caffeine and coffee to get through this game. I was thinking about this. It's a 7:30 kickoff. Yesterday I went to bed at 9 p.m. That's not even halftime.
Well, how many hours a week does a single episode of God Bless Football take you?
Wow. Ooh, that is a question. I would say 20 plus. Between recording and editing, like 20 plus.
It takes me about 2.
Yeah, well, no, it takes you about 2 with Chris Sims alone.
Wait, did you do UTEP the last time?
It is, yeah. I noticed that earlier. This is going to be my second go-around with UTEP.
You're going to know the players. It's going to be half the
Well,
research.
this was in 2019, so. COVID, Dan, you've heard about it.
Redshirt senior, maybe?
They've been crushed by the transfer portal, have they?
Yeah.
One of the guys more dressed up than the other.
I was actually thinking about that, too. That's AJ Ricketts, who's the one that asked me to do this with him. Should I go in a suit? I don't think I'm going to today, but I was wondering, do I do a suit?
You should today. You should today.